Everybody all together. One more time. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare
Hare Krishna devotees, please accept my humble obeisances. All good to Srila Prabhupada. Welcome devotees to our online class. We hope and pray that everyone and our families are safe at home. Looking back at the weather from when we announced that it should be canceled, I'm actually glad that we did because it's pretty cold outside, even though the temperatures are in the teens, but it feels like single digits. So we are, by the mercy of Nitai Guru Chandra, we are safe in our homes. And we're very grateful for that. And we thank all of you for joining us. And we hope that more devotees will join from the comfort of our homes to join the class this afternoon. It's a very, very powerful class. And the class is on the glories of Prabhupada's life, Srila Prabhupada Lilamrta. And we are going chapter by chapter, highlighting the main points of the classes. And today, as all other classes on proper Lilamrta. Today's class will also be given by Jitamitra Govinda Das. And without further delay, I'll hand it over to him. Haribol, and it's all yours.
Hare Krishna. So, yeah, I'm sitting in front of Nitai Gaurchandra as I'm giving this class. So, since we're doing it online, so we'll do it a little different format. For the Jai Radha Madhav, I'll sing and you be on mute and just sing along with me, because once we go unmute, then it creates a lot of uh, clash. So I'll be singing and I'll just sing along with the muted. Jai Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Gopijana Vallabha Girivaradhari Jai Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Gopijana Vallabha Girivaradhari Yashodana Brajana Ranjana Yamuna Tiravanachari Yashodana Brajana Ranjana Yamuna Tiravanachari Jai Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Gopijana Vallabha Girivaradhari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Gopijana Vallabha Girivaradhari Yashodharandana Vrajana Ranjana Yamuna Tiravanachari Yashodharandana Vrajana Ranjana Yamuna Tiravanachari Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare Hare Jaya Nitai Gaura Chandra Nitai Gaura Chandra Gaura Hari Jaya Nitai Gaura Chandra Nitai Gaura Chandra Gaura Hari Jaya Prabhupada 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 Srila Prabhupada Jaya Prabhupada 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 Srila Prabhupada Nitai Gaura Hari Bol Hari Bol Hari Bol Hari Bol Nitai Gaura Hari Bol Hari Bol Hari Bol Hari Bol. So now again stay muted but say the pranam mantras. We'll say the pranam mantras together. Nama Om Vishnupadaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swamin Iti Namine Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Pashyatya Desa Tarine Jai Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Srivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Today no service.
Yeah, today, meaning we'll do service, but the program is cancelled because of the weather.
Together.
Yeah, so Arati will be there at 6:30. So,
At 6:30
yeah, 6:30.
today.
Yeah, today. Yeah. But other people didn't come because of the weather, so we're doing online class.
Okay. At 6:30.
Yeah, 6:30.
I come at 6:30.
Okay. Hare
I
Krishna.
tried to come.
Yeah.
I don't know. Now I see 5 o'clock or 6 o'clock.
6:30. Every day, 6.
Huh?
Yep.
6:30.
Yeah, 6:30.
Now, before on the Kartik month, after we on the 5 o'clock Aarti, last.
Yeah. Like on the Sunday program, we do little early. Yeah. Normal time is 6:30.
Is it 5 or 6:30?
Normal time 4:45 we start Guru Puja, and then Arati starts at 5:15.
5:15, no?
Mm.
Okay.
Yeah.
But then every Sunday at 5:15, I know.
Yeah.
But today you do the Aarti at 6:30.
6:30.
Okay. I tried to come.
Okay. Hare Krishna. Okay. So we'll start the class. So today's class, again, we are continuing the Srila Prabhupada Lilamrta. And so what I'll do is I'll give a quick recap of what we did. So today is the third class. So we had 2 classes before, and I'll give a quick recap of the first 2 classes, and then we'll pick up where we stopped last time. So, when we started our Lilamrita series, we started with the birth of Srila Prabhupada, the appearance day of Srila Prabhupada, which was in 1896. He appeared in the year, and he appeared to two very loving parents, Gaur Mohan De and Rajini. And again, Prabhupada was born into very good Vaishnav parents, and since a young age, especially his father, always wanted him to be very spiritually inclined. And then when he was born, one thing we learned was the astrologer predicted that when he would cross the age of 70, he would go to the West and he would establish 108 temples. In fact, recently I was talking with one devotee, and this devotee was mentioning the 108th temple was the Hyderabad temple. So it was a very interesting point I came to know. So, Prabhupada obviously later, as we'll continue hearing the Lilamrit, we'll see how he fulfills this prediction of going to the West and also this prediction of 108 temples. Then, when we came to know that even at the age of 6 years old, how he celebrated Rath Yatra. He got the whole community, the whole town together in his house. And even at such a young age of 6 years, he got everyone together to celebrate Rath Yatra at his house. Then we learned, as he grew older, he joined the Scottish Church College, where he got his education in philosophy and economics. And then after graduation, he started work under Kartik Chandra Bose. Kartik Chandra Bose was a friend of Gaur Mohan Dev, and under his pharmacy, he got a job of general manager. Then the pivotal moment in his life was in 1922. So, this is where our last class started off. So, in 1922, Srila Prabhupada, by force, Narendranath Malik, we came to know, his friend forced him to meet this personality, Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Maharaj. So, that was the first time, 1922, when Srila Prabhupada met his future guru, Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Maharaj. So, and when that meeting was very pivotal, we learned last time how even he went into the room, and even before he could get up after paying obeisances, Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Maharaj told him that you are intelligent people, you should go and preach in English language. So in the first meeting itself, Srila Prabhupada was completely sold out. He gave his heart to Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Maharaj, and in his heart he had already accepted him as his guru. So then, as things progressed, Srila Prabhupada had the desire to expand his business, to expand so that he could collect more money to support the different projects of Bhaktisiddhanta Maharaj. So in that spirit, he moved from Kolkata. He went to Allahabad to open up a new center, to open up a new pharmacy there. So when he went to Allahabad, he opened up the Prayag pharmacy. And during this period in Allahabad, he also helped the devotees, the disciples of Bhaktisiddhanta Maharaj, to open up a center to get land, to do fundraising, to get land, to build a temple in Allahabad. And, during this period, after 1922, whenever Srila Prabhupada would get a chance to meet Bhaktisiddhanta Maharaj, he wouldn't miss it. He was always seeking opportunities to hear and associate with his Guru Maharaj. Then finally, this is where we ended last class. Finally, in 1933, so this was 11 years later. So 1922 is when he met Bhaktisiddhanta Maharaj. 11 years later, 1933, there was a stone laying ceremony in Allahabad. So, finally this project came together and they were laying the stone to build this temple. So during the stone laying ceremony, Srila Prabhupada asks Atulananda Prabhu that, he desires to get initiated from Bhaktisiddhanta Maharaj. And then in that ceremony, Bhaktisiddhanta Maharaj initiates Srila Prabhupada. And another thing we learned, unlike other disciples of Bhaktisiddhanta Maharaj, Srila Prabhupada on that day got both the first initiation and second initiation. So this is where we stopped last. So last class, when we did, we covered during the period of 1922 to 1933. 1922 when Srila Prabhupada meets Bhaktisiddhanta Maharaj, and 1933 when Srila Prabhupada gets initiated. So today's class we'll pick up from there and we'll continue hearing the Lilamrta. So, after Srila Prabhupada, so back then, so after initiation, we heard, before initiation, our dear Srila Prabhupada, his name was Abhay Charan. That was the name his parents had given them, Abhay Charan. After initiation, the initiated name that Abhay Charan got was Abhay Charanaravinda Das. So just added Aravind. Bhaktisiddhanta Maharaj just added Aravind. So his name now is Abhay Charanaravind Das. His initiated name. So, after this period, whenever Srila Prabhupada or Abhay Charan Prabhu, he would meet Bhaktisiddhanta Maharaj. So whenever he would meet Bhaktisiddhanta Maharaj, he would ask him only one question, that how can I serve you? So this is like the mood of a disciple, that whenever we meet our Guru, or whenever we even meet like a senior sannyasi or even other gurus, our mood is, how can I serve you? So, like one trend sometimes we see in ISKCON, that when we meet a very senior Vaishnava, senior sannyasi, sometimes junior devotees, they ask like, oh Maharaj, how are you? How are you doing? Do you do yoga? Yoga keeps your health fit. Like that, sometimes we see this trend. But, Srila Prabhupada or Abhay Charan, our founder Acharya, he kind of gives us what is the way of dealing with senior devotees. With our equals or with our juniors, we can have a much more cordial relationship, and we can ask like, how are you doing, Prabhu? How are things going? But especially when we are dealing with very senior devotees or senior sannyasis, senior gurus, very senior to us, then the approach is different. And we can see from Srila Prabhupada's life, from Abhay Charan's example, Abhay Charan Prabhu, that like, whenever he used to meet, so, if you read the Lilamrta, like, he never had any questions, but the only thought was, how can I serve my Guru? And because Srila Prabhupada, or Abhay Charan, he always used to have this feeling that, oh, I'm a householder, I'm not able to do so much. This is unlike the other sannyasi disciples which Siddhanta Maharaj, Bhakti Siddhanta Maharaj had, who were doing extensive preaching. So Abhay Charan always had that feeling in the deep in his heart that, oh, I'm not doing so much. That's why whenever he would meet, he would ask, how can I serve you? So, like this, things were going. And, Abhay Charan was trying to set up, Abhay Charan Prabhu, he was trying to set up his pharmacy in Allahabad called the Prayag Pharmacy. And last time I also mentioned how this pharmacy had become very famous and very popular. This pharmacy, I said last time, even Jawaharlal Nehru, Motilal Nehru, they had come to take medicines from this pharmacy. So it was a very famous pharmacy. So, however, even though the pharmacy had got a lot of fame, the pharmacy was starting to run into problems. So, what was the problems? So, Abhay Charan, he would give out the medicines in advance, you know, and the buyers would say like, okay, give us the medicine and we will pay them over time. However, lot of like this debt had started to accumulate because again, these medicines Abhay Charan was getting from Kartik Chandra Bose. So, basically there was an agreement with Kartik Chandra Bose that Bose will manufacture the medicines and after manufacturing the medicines, will hand it over to Srila Prabhupada or Abhay Charan to distribute in the Allahabad, in the Prayag pharmacy. So, Kartik Chandra Bose, he was giving the medicines, but over time, he was not getting payments. And the reason why he was not getting payments was Abhay Charan was giving the medicines on the word of these buyers and they were not paying him. And what started to happen was over time, this debt started to increase. It started to get really, really big. So, from the very beginning, Abhay Charan had, people who were envious of him in who were working under Kartik Chandra Bose. So what happened? They started instigating Bose that look at this fellow. This person is not trustworthy. You had originally made him general manager. Now you are trusting him to sell things in Allahabad. Maybe he's cheating you. But Dr. Bose, he was a friend of Gaur Mohan De, the father of Srila Prabhupada, of Abhay Charan. And he had lot of trust. Like his trust on Abhay Charan was just like how a father would trust a son. So he used to see Abhay Charan just like his own son. So what he said is like, okay, I will go to Allahabad and I will see why this is happening. So when he goes to Allahabad, as we heard last time, Srila Prabhupada or Abhay Charan was working with Dr. Ghosh. So the way the pharmacy was set up was, there was a doctor. The doctor would, Dr. Ghosh, he would see the symptoms, he would do diagnosis, and then he would refer to Prayag pharmacy to get the medicines. So when Bose met with Dr. Ghosh, Dr. Ghosh explained the situation, what had happened, that, on the word, on the faith that he would get paid back, Abhay Charan had given a lot of medicines and hadn't got the payment. So then, Kartik Chandra Bose understood the situation. But because the debt was so much, that Kartik Chandra Bose requested Abhay Charan to sell the whole Prayag pharmacy and hand over the whole Prayag pharmacy to Bose. So again, from this, what we see is that, Abhay Charan has a setback, a financial setback in his material life. And as this story will continue, as Lilamrta continues, one pattern we'll see how consistently in his material life, Abhay Charan will keep on having a lot of setbacks. But again, this is a mercy of Krishna because all of these setbacks would teach Abhay Charan all the things he needs to learn in the future to set up a international movement. So, but anyways, in this, if we look at it in the short term, Srila Prabhupada or Abhay Charan had a major business setback, and he had to give over the whole Prayag pharmacy, which was in Allahabad, to Kartik Chandra Bose. So when he had this setback, you know, one thing again, another quality of Abhay Charan we'll learn as we read Lilamrta is, regardless of whatever setback, be it in material life, be it in a spiritual life, even in spiritual life, we'll hear different types of setbacks which Abhay Charan had to endure, which our Srila Prabhupada had to endure. One thing we'll see is he was never dejected. He immediately used to bounce back and think, okay, what is the next thing we can do? And one of the points I had mentioned in last class about Srila Prabhupada, that a person who studies Srila Prabhupada's life will never fall into depression, because Prabhupada went through so many setbacks. But after every setback, he's able to bounce back. He's like, okay, this thing happened. Okay, what can we do next? In fact, later as we hear the stories, you'll see so many things. So it gives a lot of inspiration for us that, okay, even in our material lives, sometimes even in our spiritual lives, we have different problems, we have different setbacks. But if we study Srila Prabhupada's life, we see how Srila Prabhupada is able to overcome those setbacks. And this provides a lot of inspiration for us as well. So in this case, Abhay Charan, what he started to think, okay, Allahabad didn't work out. But so one thing that the astrologer had predicted, when Abhay Charan was born, one of the prediction was he would go to the west, he would open 108 temples. Another prediction that the astrologer had made was, at when he gets older, uh, Srila Prabhupada would become the richest person in India. So this thought he had in his mind that, okay. So, with that thought, he said like, okay, this didn't work, but maybe there is more to be gained. So with this thought, Abhay Charan, he moved to Bombay, because he saw, okay, if it didn't work here, Bombay is the place of much larger opportunity. So let me go and try in Bombay. So when he went to Bombay, right now he doesn't have any money, he doesn't have any means. So what he said is like, okay, let me first get employed under some pharmaceutical company, and then after that I'll open up my own. So over there he gets in contact with Smith Institute, and under the Smith Institute, he gets employed. He becomes a salesman for their pharmaceutical products, and on the side he's trying to open up his own pharmacy. So now what happens is, during this period when he moves to Bombay, he comes across Bhakti Rakshak Sridhar Maharaj. So he's a disciple of Bhakti Siddhanta Maharaj. So they come, and then here also they say that, here also we want to open up a center. So Allahabad and Prayag, that time he opened up a center there. But now he moves here, he meets another disciple of Bhakti Siddhanta Maharaj, and they're like, okay, we want to make a center there. So Abhay Charan, like more than business, he's focused on the spiritual aspects. So he doesn't have proper means. He's new in Bombay, he's still trying to set things up, he's still trying to make connections inside Smith Institute. But when his god brother Bhakti Rakshak Sridhar Maharaj says like, we want to open up a center here in Bombay, Srila Prabhupada immediately jumps in. Abhay Charan immediately jumps in. That's the spirit of a disciple. He says like, my god brother is here, the disciple of my Guru Maharaj is here, and my Guru Maharaj is trying to open a new center here. So I need to help completely, whatever I can. So he immediately jumps into fundraising. So, whatever contacts he had developed through the Smith Institute, through his business circles, he tries to go there. And, one thing is, when we become a devotee, this is one point I've mentioned so many times in our class. When we become a devotee, when we become a sincere devotee, the 26 qualities that are mentioned in Bhagavad Gita starts to automatically manifest in us. Qualities of humility, qualities of tolerance, qualities of forbearance. So when these 26 qualities develops in a person, automatically the person becomes very attractive. Everyone wants to work with them. Everyone wants to listen to them. So Srila Prabhupada, Abhay Charan, because since we heard like how he was sent by Krishna himself, he was a pure devotee. So he had these Vaishnav qualities. So that's why when he used to go to fundraising, people used to be charmed by his qualities and they would want to hear what he has to say. So, when he used to go on this fundraising into his business circles, immediately the Indians would get charmed and they would say like, okay, we'll donate. So like that, he was a very successful fundraiser. So in this way, he was able to get a land on Proctor Road in Bombay. So like that, things keep moving. So instead of focusing so much on the material aspects on the business, he ended up focusing more on helping the disciples of Bhaktisiddhanta Maharaj, his god brothers. Then February 25th, 1935 comes. So this is the Vyas Puja of Bhaktisiddhanta Maharaj. So those who are hearing the word Vyas Puja for the first time, Vyas Puja is basically the appearance day of the Guru. So, for a disciple, Vyas Puja is a very, very dear day, very important day. Why? Because a disciple makes progress in spiritual life by the mercy of a spiritual master. I was just listening to one poem by Sant Kabir, who's a famous sant, and who is not in our line, but he is on the Vaishnav line. He made one statement that even if you cut your head and gave it as an offering to your guru, even that offering would fall short. Basically the point Sant Kabir and even other acharyas tries to tell us is that we are deeply indebted to our spiritual master. In this regard, I also remember one Prabhupada memory. One Prabhupada disciple came to Prabhupada, and Prabhupada he said Prabhupada, like, Srila Prabhupada, we are so indebted to you. What can we do about it? And Srila Prabhupada said, okay, be indebted forever. Because the debt to the Guru, there is no way to clear. There is so much debt we have. Because we, by the mercy of Krishna, we get a Guru. And by the mercy of Guru, we get Krishna. So it's, that debt we cannot repay. So that's why the Vyas Puja is the appearance day of the spiritual master. And because we hold the spiritual master so dearly, that's why the Vyas Puja is such an important day. And every disciple should celebrate the Vyas Puja of their Guru Maharaj and also of Srila Prabhupada with lot of care and affection. So anyway, so February 25th, 1935 was the 62nd birthday or 62nd Vyas Puja of Bhaktisiddhanta Maharaj, and everyone was assembled in Jagannath Puri to celebrate this. So again, Abhay Charan, he got initiated just 2 years ago, and he didn't want to miss it, so he came. And out of deep love for Bhaktisiddhanta Maharaj, Abhay Charan, he wrote a poem, that too in English. So, this was a big shocking thing for people because like, oh, wow. Like, first of all, it's a poem, writing a poem is difficult. And that too in English, not in his native language. And, this kind of reflects the teaching that Bhaktisiddhanta or the instruction that Bhaktisiddhanta Maharaj had given to Srila Prabhupada that, you need to preach in English to Abhay Charan. So this poem we'll read because this is such a sweet poem and very nice poem. So in the poem, Abhay Charan writes, adore ye all the happy day, blessed than heaven, sweeter than May. When he appeared at Puri, the holy place, my Lord and Master, his divine grace. O my Master, the evangelic angel, give us thy light, light up thy candle. Struggle for existence, a human race, the only hope, his divine grace. Misled we are, all going astray. Save us, Lord, our fervent prey. Wonder thy ways to turn our face, adore thy feet, your divine grace. Forgotten Krishna, we fallen souls, paying most heavy, the illusion's toll. Darkness around, all untrace, the only hope, His divine grace. Message of service, thou hast brought, a healthful life, as Chaitanya wrought. Unknown to all, it's full of grace. That's your gift, your divine grace. Absolute is sentient, thou hast proved. Impersonal calamity, thou hast moved. This gives us a life, anew and fresh. Worship thy feet, your divine grace. Had you not come, who had told the message of Krishna, forceful and bold? That's your right. You have the mace. Save me a fallen, your divine grace. The line of service, as drawn by you, is pleasing and healthy like morning dew. The oldest of all, but in new dress, miracle done, your divine grace. So, this was the poem Abhay Charan told Bhakti Siddhanta Maharaj. And when the people heard, they were completely spellbound. It was such a nice poem and it captured the essence of Bhakti Siddhanta Maharaj's mood as well. So, when so this poem, when it was told to the people there, the devotees, they immediately gave Abhay Charana Ravindra Prabhu one new title. The title was Kavi or poet because it was done so nicely. So and then when this poem was taken to Bhakti Siddhanta Maharaj and was recited to Maharaj, Maharaj got so affected that he told his disciples, whatever Abhay Charan prints, whatever Abhay Charan writes, publish it directly in my magazine. No need of editing. Any other writer, it has to go through Bhakti Siddhanta Maharaj for editing. Okay, is it correct? Is it wrong? Is the philosophy correct or not? But anything Abhay Charan writes, just publish it. And one word that or one sentence that Bhakti Siddhanta Maharaj, it specially touched him and it really captured the mood of his preaching was the line that Abhay Charan was written, absolute is sentient, thou has proved. So this one really, he repeated it over and over again, Bhakti Siddhanta Maharaj. Because Bhakti Siddhanta Maharaj, through his very bold and forceful preaching, he cut all the logic of impersonalism and the Mayavadi logic that was going on in India that time. So when he saw this, Bhakti Siddhanta Maharaj really saw that how Abhay Charan or Srila Prabhupada was able to capture the essence of the preaching, the essence of what he was trying to preach. So it had a deep impact on Bhakti Siddhanta Maharaj. So, like that was a very nice incident. So then after that, as things went on, what we saw, what I mentioned earlier, a trend that in spiritual life, Abhay Charan was finding a lot of success. Be it fundraising, be it appreciation from his god brothers, be it the love and affection from Bhakti Siddhanta Maharaj himself. He was finding a lot of success. But in material life, Abhay Charan was facing one dejection after another. So what happened in Bombay was again, Bombay under Smith Institute, Abhay Charan was finding a lot of success. But again, looking at this success, the other workers at Smith Institute got envious. And then they started doing different research and started instigating the owners of Smith Institute that, oh, look, you're trusting this fellow so much. But look, on the side, he's trying to open up his own pharmacy. So why would you want this competition? So because of this instigation, these problems, uh, the people at Smith Institute also let go of Abhay Charan. So when he was facing these dejections, Abhay Charan, one personality that Abhay Charan considered like a Shiksha Guru was Bhakti Rakshak Sridhar Maharaj. So among the different disciples or different god brothers he had and the different disciples of Bhakti Siddhanta Maharaj, one person with whom he considered as a Shiksha Guru, who was very senior and very learned, was Bhakti Rakshak Sridhar Maharaj. So Abhay Charan went to him and told him that, Abhay Charan, he was studying the Srimad Bhagavatam. And in the 10th canto of Srimad Bhagavatam, one verse comes. So I'll read this verse and I'll read the translation. It says, Yasyaham anugrami harishya tadhanam sanai tatodhanam tajantesya swajana dukha. And the translation goes, the Supreme Personality of Godhead said, if I especially favor someone, I gradually deprive him of his wealth. Then the relatives and friends of such a poverty stricken man abandon him. In this way, he suffers one distress after another. So, Abhay Charan, he read this verse and he started thinking, is this verse being applicable to me? So, he took this verse, and as I said, Bhakti Rakshak Sridhar Maharaj, he is a very, very learned and a very Vaishnava of a very high caliber. So, he took this verse and went to him and said, like, Maharaj, like, what do you think? What's going on? So, is this being applied to me? So, Bhakti Rakshak Sridhar Maharaj, he looked at him and he smiled and he said, yes, this is what's happening. So, here one point I want to mention, because sometimes there is this misconception, especially in India, there is this big misconception. Uh, like when people are joining ISKCON or when people are becoming devotee of Krishna, they say like, oh, you're becoming devotee of Krishna, oh, you're gonna lose everything, you're gonna lose your wealth, you're gonna lose your family, like, even in the Vedas it is said like this. And if anybody reads this verse, we will also think like, oh, if I become devotee of Krishna. But here we have to understand what this verse is saying. The verse opens by saying, if I especially favor someone. So this is for very, very pure devotees, very high class devotees. Like, if somebody tells, like, if you are a devotee and you're thinking like, oh, maybe Krishna will say, then the thought is like, no, you're not that dear to Krishna. We are not that dear. We have so many attachments. We are still beginners. We are following Vaidhi Bhakti. We are just trying to get our rounds in, just meeting our services and all of that. So this verse, because the verse, as I said, the Supreme Personality of Godhead said, if I especially favor someone, I gradually deprive him of his wealth. So these are applicable for very, very high class devotees or very pure devotees. So, as we know, Abhay Charan, he was a pure devotee. So this was being applicable. So, but still, Abhay Charan, he thought like, okay, it's being applied, but my astrologer had told me I was gonna be the richest person. So I'm not fully sure. So, he keeps trying. In this regard, actually, when Abhay Charan was young, his father had told him that, if Krishna wants to give you, he will give you so much that you can't handle. Like, you only have two hands. Krishna has millions of hands. If Krishna wants to give you, you can't handle. And if Krishna wants to take away from you with your two hands, how much can you stop? So, like at the end of the day, the devotee actually depends on Krishna's mercy. So this is another point. But still, Abhay Charan thought that, if my astrologer had said, and something must be, something must happen. So, with that spirit, he keeps trying. So, like I said, in the spiritual life, Abhay Charan was making a lot of progress. He was doing so much service. So, looking at all of this service, as the new center in Bombay was opening up, the disciples of Bhakti Siddhanta Maharaj, they went to him and told him that, hey, like if Abhay Charan is doing so much service, he's such a great devotee, and he's such a surrendered soul, and he listens to all of your instructions. Why don't we make him the temple president of Bombay Temple? So this is what they presented to Bhakti Siddhanta Maharaj. Again, Abhay Charan by himself, he is not wanting any fame, name, glory, power, nothing. But the God brothers, just seeing how he was doing such empowerment, he said. So that time, Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Maharaj told his disciples that no, not now. And he also gave a prophecy. A time will come in the future when he will do everything. So even Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Maharaj knew that this was not a normal, ordinary personality. That in the future he's going to do great things. And also, the reason Bhakti Siddhanta Maharaj told him not to be the TP was also because Bhakti Siddhanta Maharaj could foresee the future of the Gaudiya Mutt, which we'll hear in the future. So Bhakti Siddhanta Maharaj, being a pure devotee of Krishna, could see the past, present, and future, and he could see what is coming in the future. So in that spirit, Bhakti Siddhanta Maharaj said that no, not now. However, having said that, Jai Jai Sri Nitai Gaur Chandra ki Jai, Srila Prabhupada ki. So, however, although Bhakti Siddhanta Maharaj gave these instructions to the to Srila Prabhupada's God brothers, to Abhay Charan's God brothers, Abhay Charan in his heart, especially after taking initiation, the desire only kept growing that I should preach more. I should fulfill the desire of my Guru Maharaj. My Guru Maharaj the mission and his spirit it's a very missionary spirit, is to how to spread this movement. So, Abhay Charan in his heart was constantly thinking like, what can I do? What can I do? And in that spirit, Abhay Charan also wrote a letter to Bhakti Siddhanta Maharaj, and I'll read this letter. Dear Guru Maharaj, please accept my humble obeisances at your lotus feet. You have got many disciples, and I am one of them, but they are doing direct service to you. Some of them are brahmacharis, some of them are sannyasis, but I am a householder. I cannot. Sometimes I give monetary help while I cannot give you direct service. Is there any particular service I can do? So again, see the spirit of Abhay Charan, see the spirit of Srila Prabhupada. So to this letter, 2 weeks later, Abhay receives a reply. And again, this is again reconfirming what Abhay has to do in the future. So in this letter, Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Maharaj writes, and I'm going to read it as it is. I am fully confident that you can explain in English our thoughts and arguments to the people who are not conversant with the language of other members. This will do much good to yourself as well as your audience. I have every hope that you can turn yourself into a very good English preacher. If you serve the mission to inculcate the novel impression of Lord Chaitanya's teachings in the people in general, as well as philosophers and religionists. So again, Bhakti Siddhanta Maharaj is reaffirming that instruction that he had given him back in 1922, that you are intelligent people, you should go and preach in English. So again in this letter, Bhakti Siddhanta Maharaj is reaffirming that I'm fully confident that you can explain in English our thoughts and arguments. And also at the very end, what he says, uh, to inculcate the novel impression of Lord Chaitanya's teachings in the people in general, as well as philosophers and religionists. So this is something Srila Prabhupada did, because when he came to the West, he, through his disciples, used to try to spend time with the great thinkers, with the scientists, with the different theosophists, with the religionists, with the different philosophers, so that the message could be spread on a wider scale. Because Srila Prabhupada, especially when he used to be preaching to these high class people, be it the High Court judge in Chennai, or be it Cardinal Danielou in France, Srila Prabhupada, to his disciples, he would say that yad yad achariti sreshtas tat tat eva tarojana. Like whatever great people do, the common people follow. So that means we have to see how we can influence these great people, because if they come to Krishna consciousness, if they become devotees, then the common people will anyways follow. So already we are seeing this prophecy and also this push from Bhaktisiddhanta Maharaj that you should preach in English. So then in November 1935, so we just heard the Vyas Puja, which happened in January. February 1935. Then in November 1935, again Srila Prabhupada or Abhay Charan has the good fortune of spending some time with Bhaktisiddhanta Maharaj in Radhakund in Vrindavan. So what happens here is that many disciples come and Bhaktisiddhanta Maharaj spends time with his disciples, but there was some time that Abhay Charan was able to spend alone time with Bhaktisiddhanta Maharaj. So it was just one-on-one alone time. So when Abhay Charan was alone with Bhaktisiddhanta Maharaj, he confided to him. He told him, the very big, beautiful temple that was built, the marble temple that was built in Kolkata, the Bagh Bazaar. This was the biggest temple at that time of Bhaktisiddhanta Maharaj. He confided to him that my disciples are already fighting over the ownership of this temple. And Bhaktisiddhanta Maharaj said that if during my presence my disciples are fighting like this, then imagine what will happen when I leave this planet. And again, Bhaktisiddhanta Maharaj, seeing the future, he said one word in Bengali, that Agun Jolbe, meaning there will be fire. When I leave, there will be fire amongst my disciples. So, one interesting thing that we see, that just before Bhakti Siddhanta Maharaj passes away, he writes a letter to all of his disciples. And he asks them, he urges them to cooperate and work as a team. So this same thing we see in Srila Prabhupada's life also later. When Srila Prabhupada leaves this earthly planet in 1977, the very last instruction that Srila Prabhupada gives is, your love for me will be shown by how you cooperate after I leave. So, again, we see this parallel story. So, anyway, so Bhakti Siddhanta Maharaj, he again, Srila Prabhupada was alone, Abhay Charan was alone, and he confided to him that after I leave, there will be fire. And then he also gives Abhay Charan specifically another instruction. Whenever you get money, print books. So, we see how Abhay Charan will take this instruction very deep into his heart. Because this was the mood of Bhakti Siddhanta Maharaj as well. If you look at the Gaudiya Mutt, Bhakti Siddhanta Maharaj, if you look at the logo, in the logo you will see different things. You will see Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, you will see Nityanand Prabhu, you will see Mridanga, you will see Tilak. But you will also see a printer inside the logo itself. And many people will ask, like, what is this? Like, what is this printer doing? But this printer signifies how Bhaktisiddhanta Maharaj was a very revolutionary preacher, and he saw like the books are the basis. If this movement of Lord Chaitanya has to continue, our philosophy needs to be grounded in these books so that people know that, it's not like we just thought of a philosophy and we are preaching this philosophy. This has a backing of thousands of years. Our acharyas, it has the backing of the acharyas. Our movement has strength. Why? It has strength because we are following the instructions of the acharyas, the unbroken disciplic succession. So that's why Bhakti Siddhanta Maharaj, if you see the Gaudiya, that time the Gaudiya Math logo, inside the logo itself there was the uh, this printer. So, this instruction which Bhakti Siddhanta Maharaj gave to Prabhupada was, or Abhay Charan, is whenever you get money, print books. And this mood, Abhay Charan took it so deeply that we see later when our Srila Prabhupada opens many, many temples in the West. One of the requirements he gave them at that time was 50% of the earnings of the temple needs to go to the BBT, the Bhakti Vedanta Book Trust. Another thing we see, and this is another very, you can see the geniusness of Srila Prabhupada, is he made ISKCON, the International Society for Krishna Consciousness, and the BBT, the Bhakti Vedanta Book Trust, or the printing arm of ISKCON, as two distinct legal entities. The reason he made these as two distinct legal entities was, in Prabhupada's mind, was that even if, let's say, for whatever political reason, for whatever government reason, if there is a ban on ISKCON or ISKCON falls apart, whatever, the BBT can still go on by itself because these books are so, so important. And today, if you look at BBT, BBT is the world's largest printing house for printing spiritual books. It has broken that record. So that's why, when Bhaktisiddhanta Maharaj in Radhakund in 1935, alone with Abhay Charan, was giving this instruction, Abhay Charan was deeply, took this instruction to heart. So then, after that, so Mataji will stop at 6:20 and give 10 minutes for questions.
That sounds good. Yes. Thank you.
So maybe in another 5 minutes. So one or two more we'll stop.
Yeah.
So then comes the most fateful day, 1st January 1937. The 1st January 1937, Bhakti Siddhanta Maharaj wraps up his pastimes on this earthly planet. So when this happens, it was a very, very big jolt to the whole Gaudiya Math. So one thing we see, and this is true, and this you can see if you do a historical analysis, whenever an acharya leaves, doesn't matter even if you look in the Christian traditions as well, whenever a empowered teacher or whenever an acharya leaves, there is a huge upheaval in the movement. This happened even with Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada left in 1977. In the 1980s was a very turbulent time for ISKCON as well. So whenever an acharya leaves, whenever a very powerful, empowered personality leaves the planet, there is always a huge upheaval. So in this case also, when Bhakti Siddhanta Maharaj leaves in 1937, January 1st, there was a big upheaval. And already, as we were hearing in this past times, that this was predicted by Bhakti Siddhanta Maharaj himself. He said, Agun Jolbe, there will be fire. So, and if you look at it from a philosophical perspective, from a theological perspective, the reason why this happens is when the acharya is present, everyone, because of his physical presence, everyone is together. But when he leaves, there are a lot of devotees who are weak, who are not fully following the instructions, who sometimes even there are people who are envious of the acharya. So when the acharya leaves, the less and the weak, the less committed devotees, they leave the movement. And only the people who are very strong, who are very sincere, who really believed in the words and teachings and the instructions of the acharya, they stay back, because they still find the acharya in their heart through the instructions of the acharya. So this happens, like I said, even when Bhakti Siddhanta Maharaj left, and same thing even when Prabhupada left in the 80s, lot of devotees left. So another thing that happened was, when Bhakti Siddhanta Maharaj left, because he was such a powerful personality, in India they declared it as a national holiday. It was such a big deal. It was such a big deal. So 1937, that's what happened. So I think, Mati, I think this is a good point to stop. Yeah, we can again pick up Prabhupada's Lilamrta from there. So we can stop here, and maybe we can take some time for firstly, if anyone has any questions. If no questions, then reflections or realizations on what you heard, what touched you, what you felt was important. So you can take some.
Thank you, Jitamitra. That was a very nice, pastime. Really enjoying, each pastime that you were sharing really helped me to remember the pastimes that, I read many years ago. That was really, really nice. Devotees, please, if you have any questions from this, please do ask, or your reflections, please do share. You can either raise your hand or you can just jump right in. That's also fine. There was one point that when you were reading the poem that Prabhupada wrote to his spiritual master, you know, um, really showed the level of what would you call it? How amazing Shiv Prabhupada is in his English, like so pucka, so amazing, right? Like these the words that he chose are like you don't, at least I don't find it in today's poetry. you know and even if people write poetry, it's like simple words, but Prabhupada used like really big words, and the way he rhymed it, who would have thought that someone who went to school for economics and history and law would write poems so beautifully. So I was really reflecting what a how powerful of an ambassador Srila Prabhupada was, sent by the Lord, and how fortunate we are to have his teachings in his writings, his letters, and his poems that we can hold in our hand and read it. Like, wow, like it, and it made me think that every book that Srila Prabhupada has written, has, published, has put his timeless, 10 p.m. to 2 a.m. writing. These books should be, it should be tadiya, worshipable, We just can't treat it loosely, because Prabhupada really gave every ounce of sweat and blood in it. So that was one of my reflections that I was really appreciating, but would like to ask someone else if they have other reflections to share. Please do unmute yourself and share. It's pretty powerful, pretty powerful. Even you can add to it, Jitmitra, if you want, to what I said, or anything that comes to your mind.
Madhuri, actually, here, although the temple, we cancelled the program, locally some devotees came. So
Oh,
even if,
nice.
yeah, here, Dan Prabhu came. Dan Prabhu even helped with the cooking.
Oh, wonderful. So nice.
Yeah,
Very
because we
nice.
we ended up making lot of preps, a lot of.
Hey, amazing. That is how Nita Guru Chandra is. He always makes arrangements and he knows how to trick his devotees and get them to cook them the best of the meals. Well, the good thing is, once it's offered, is all of you. You guys can have it.
Yeah, because Narayan Prabhu was asking like, oh, like how much should we cook? Just only three of us are here. I said, like, Prabhu, cook. I know people are going to show up for some reason or the other. So yeah, Dan Prabhu is saying he didn't get the email or he saw it late. So he showed up.
Oh, I see. Well, Krishna tricked him too. That's
So
why he
that's why,
came.
yeah, that's why I told Narayan Prabhu, like, cook more. Like, I know somehow the other people are going to show up.
Very nice. I'm glad
Uh,
Dan is there. Very nice.
so here we have three devotees. Mataji, what's your name? Madhupan Leela. Nasi Brahma. Hare Krishna, bro. Oh, so devotees from Gita Nagari came. That's it.
Oh, nice. Very nice. Very nice. Are they driving through or just visiting?
Okay, driving through. Yeah. So, so
Well,
Mataji,
Krishna arranged that you cooked more.
yeah, I
So
knew
all
it.
that
I knew it. I knew it ahead of time.
Krishna's arrangement, you cooked more. Does Dear Krishna raised his hand, Jitamitra. Go ahead, Dear Krishna.
Hare Krishna, please
Hare
accept my humble obeisances. Thank you, Prabhu, for a wonderful reading of the Lilamrta and very, very nice points. Can I just add a couple of points to that verse that Srila Prabhupada was trying to inquire from Sridhar Maharaj? Or I forgot the
Yes.
name of
Yeah, Bhakti
uh,
Rakshak
Bhakti,
Sridhar.
about, that one who becomes a devotee of Krishna takes, because that's a very scary point, and some, like you mentioned and you repeated yourself, a lot of people misunderstand that. So I just wanted to share what I heard about that verse.
Yeah.
Krishna does it only if it is in the way of our devotion. In the sense, if I am going with the prayer to Krishna, make me your pure devotee. So on one hand, I'm making that prayer, but if I'm not leaving my attachment, Krishna will accept the first prayer because he will say, "Okay, here you go," because your wealth or your opulence is in your way to become your pure devotee. So number one. Second
Yeah.
thing is he will only take it temporarily, and then like he did to Prabhupada,
Yeah.
he made it, he gave him back everything and more than what he had in the end. So that's the hope. So just wanted to share that Krishna will only work on in his way. Otherwise, he will not he will not stretch us to a limit where we break. He will just he will never do that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you, Prabhu. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Yeah, actually, one of my past Shiksha gurus had told me. So that time I was going through a lot of struggles, and I had so many questions. So yeah, he made that point, very similar point, Prabhu, what you said. He told me that Krishna will never give you a test that you can't handle. Like Krishna will never give you a test you can't. Another thing I was reading very recently, one Srila Prabhupada's room conversation, where he says, for a materialistic person, for a non-devotee, the suffering that comes in the non-devotee's life, it comes purely due to karma. Oh, you did bad karma last life. You stole some money last life. You said some harsh words, or this life you said some harsh words. So it's a very transactional. Like, oh, you did this, you'll get this much suffering. Oh, you did that, you'll get this much suffering. But Srila Prabhupada in that room conversation says that for a devotee, whatever suffering comes directly from Krishna. It's not like, oh, you did this, okay, you need to. No, no, no. Okay, what lesson does this devotee need to learn? Okay, oh, he's attached to fame. Okay, I'll do something to destroy his fame. Or oh, he's attached. He's very proud. Okay, let me. So yeah, like, and when you think about that way, then you feel like so special in a way, right? Like Krishna is personally handling your case. Like in the other people, like, yeah, this Maya is handling, this judge is handling, like. But in your case, in the meaning in the case of a devotee, Krishna is personally handling. So yeah, like even when you are suffering, when we think in that way, because I think especially for me that realization started coming because when I started living in the temple, and like right there, Nitai Gaur Chandra is there. I tell Narayan Prabhu, like, oh, it's not three people living in the temple. It's actually six people. Three, Nitai Gaurchandra and Prabhupada. Actually, it's six people. So, now when I see the problems in my life, I'm like, okay, I know Krishna is trying to teach me something. I need to figure out what it is. It's not like, oh, it is suffering. Oh, I'm suffering. But no, Krishna is trying. So, yeah, Prabhu, like the point you are saying, I'm getting personal realizations of those points. So, yeah, thank you for sharing, Prabhu.
Well said, Prabhu. So in short, everything he will do, it is to bring us closer to him. Whether it is we feel it is negative or positive, doesn't matter, but it is a walk towards him. So well said, Prabhu.
Yeah,
Thank you.
thank you. Uh, So, Mataji, we can actually keep question answer for another 5-10 minutes because the offering is
Still going on? Sure, we can go on. No problem. Absolutely.
6 6:40. Yeah, so we 6:45. Okay. So, Mataji, offering will end 6:40. Arati 6:45 because we got little delayed.
Fine.
So,
Sure.
yeah, we
Go
can keep.
ahead. Anyone else would like to? Yeah, go ahead, Prekshit.
I guess, yeah.
Hare
Step
Krishna.
on the basis. It's all glory to you, Prabhupada.
Jai Prabhupada.
Interesting comment that you made towards the end um, about when an acharya leaves, how there's some confusion that happens between the devotees. Is there any? Can you make some comment on that one? What happens? Why that happens?
Yeah, then I'll just or just say some of the things that was uh, told by Amoglila Prabhu because some of the notes here I made from Amoglila Prabhu.
Mm,
Yeah, like what Amoglila Prabhu basically said is when the Acharya is present, because the Acharya is so powerful, like, these are very, very powerful devotees. Even though devotees, those who are not, so committed and so like full faith in Krishna or full
mm,
faith in the process of bhakti. But because the Acharya is there, they have, because he's there, that's why the faith is there. Because the faith comes from the physical presence of the Acharya, because they're so. And some devotees are also very attached to the Acharya more than they are attached to the teachings of the Acharya.
mm,
This happens. So Amolila Prabhu said in that is like when that Acharya leaves, the ones that are truly faithful, those who are connected to the Vani. So, here there is those two things, the Vapu and the Vani. Vani means the instructions and Vapu means the physical presence. So those devotees who are very committed to that Vani or the physical or the instructions, they retain, they stay because they in their heart the guru is still present because of the instruction. But those who are not that connected to the instruction but are more connected to the physical presence of the guru, they leave, and that also leads to so many problems. So
mm.
this is what I understood, but I'm sure Prabhu, you
Yeah. Thank
personal
you for. Mm,
you
thank you
have
for explaining it. But as you were talking, then the thought came to me also regarding this whole thing about the Vani and Vapu, the body. When the spiritual master is there, um, the instruction of the spiritual master Vani, and then versus the Vapu. There was one comment. This is adding to Srila Prabhupada. Maybe you would even get to it because this was about time that around the time he was going to leave the body himself. And devotees were worried. Some people asked him, I don't know whether it's a devotee or a reporter, but they asked you to Prabhupada, what's going to happen to the movement after you leave? And Srila Prabhupada says, I'll never leave. I'll never die. He actually came and says, I will never die. I will always be present in my books. So see, that shows the importance of what Srila Prabhupada had written. He wasn't as concerned about what is relating to his body, him as a guru, but he was more concerned about the instructions that he'd given, because that's what keeps the society going, and that's what causes all of us to grow in Krishna consciousness. So I just wanted to throw that in. Okay, Hare Krishna.
Yeah. Hare Krishna. Yeah. Actually, like when Gopal Krishna Maharaj left very recently, also, I was hearing those uh, memories and remembrance of Gopal Krishna Maharaj, and uh, yeah, similar comments were being made by his senior disciples. Like the same thing happens. Yeah, be it Gopal Krishna Maharaj, Bhakti Charu Maharaj, Bhakti Tirtha Maharaj. So yeah, yeah. Madhu, you wanted to make one comment?
Yeah, what I wanted to share was, when you're speaking about the passing of Bhaktisiddhanta Maharaj, and then, and we've seen in ISKCON, even when Prabhupada was the only spiritual master at that time, and when he left, there was chaos. Just as how Bhaktisiddhanta Maharaj said there would be fire, when
Yeah.
Prabhupada left, there was fire.
Yeah.
And and then we see that even when all the other spiritual masters left in ISKCON, left the planet, that is, from Govinda Maharaj to Tamal Krishna Maharaj to Srila Swami, the Bhaktirtha Swami, the list goes on. There was always some fire, because and I think my personal realization is the test of faith of a disciple with the Vani and the Vapu, and that's what happened when Srila Prabhupada left the planet. Some devotees stayed on and some disciples left because like Amoghila Prabhu was mentioning, like what you said, some were attached to the Vapu. And when the Vapu was gone, everything is gone, and you see there are so many proper disciples who are serving like stalwart devotees, pure devotees, serving till the up until burning the midnight candle, as they say, and they believe in Prabhupada's Vani, So and that these are examples for us. It's to show us how much faith we have in the instructions and the teachings of the acharyas will decide if we can make it and if we will make it after the guru leaves the planet, because that is bound to happen. So if we do not have faith in the instructions of the spiritual master and the teachings and the words of the guru now and follow it 100%, if we do not have that faith, it's very difficult to survive in Krishna consciousness after the guru leaves. Very, very difficult. So that is our test of faith in Guru, the Guru's instructions, the Guru, the words, everything, as opposed to the Vapu. That's the test of faith for a disciple. Yeah. Yeah. Powerful comment. Powerful point too. Thank you, Jitamitra.
Yeah.
Anyone else would like to share something? Please go ahead. Or questions, or if you don't want to speak, you're more than welcome to put in the chat, since this is an online class, and we'll be happy to read your comment or your question or your reflection. Please put it in the chat. But this is a very powerful point. Also, another point that you were mentioning when you were reading, Jitamitra, when it was predicted, right, that Prabhupada would be very rich.
Yeah.
When you
Yeah.
were reading that, I said to myself, yeah, the richness is a different kind. It's not the tangible one that we see, bank balance, big house, big car, all that wealth and all that. That's not what that's not what Krishna was saying. Krishna was saying that the wealth and the richness is something else. And if you look at it, Prabhupada, established 108 temples. Now that is called wealth. That is
Yeah.
the real wealth.
If you put the assets together of the 108 temples, he was the richest. Like actually he was like that. So
It is more wealthy than any millionaire actually in this world,
yeah.
if you think about it. So Prabhupada was
Actually,
very rich.
which millionaire has 108 offices? Like maybe they have few offices, right?
Yeah.
So
108 officers, lack of better word, and thousands of followers.
yeah,
We don't see that. We just don't see that now. So, and because only Prabhupada can do that.
mm,
And also, I was also reflecting on the point when you mentioned when the devotees was telling Bhaktisiddhanta Maharaj about Srila Prabhupada becoming the temple president of
yeah,
Mumbai,
mm,
and his guru said, no, he'll do bigger things, right? And
yeah,
then because the spiritual master could see the future, and I think that's one of the powers. Probably that's the wrong word to use, but that is one of the ability of the spiritual master, that they know the strengths and the weaknesses of the disciple. I was
yeah,
remembering a quote by my spiritual master. He says that when a disciple comes out of the comfort zone, it comes with empowerment for service.
yeah. Actually, Mataji, on this one reflection I have is that sometimes as a devotee we want maybe a service or something, uh, and maybe at that moment through the superiors or the temple management or whatever, the guru also, we might not get the service. Like, in this case, this temple president of Bombay, they wanted to make, but that service was not given. And that is because there is a bigger plan in place. So, because sometimes it might happen that a devotee, when he's presenting his desire, like, oh, I want to do this service, but at that moment that service is not manifesting, or that service is not being given, it doesn't necessarily mean like, oh, like Krishna is taking away, or like it's a misfortune. It's just the manifestation of something bigger is yet to happen. The reason I'm saying this is sometimes this happens, sometimes in temples or in ISKCON, it happens like we want to do a service, but at that moment we are not getting that service. But that doesn't mean that, like, oh, we want to banish you, or like, you are not fit for the service or something. It's like the time has not come yet. The time is yet to come. And this one happened to me once, like, it's not an exactly same analogy, but similar thing. Years ago, like, almost like 5 6 years ago, I was told to, I was completely unprepared, completely unqualified, and I was told to give us this lecture in front of like 200 300 people in India. And like I was completely unqualified, but they said I did it. Okay? And then, like, when I did a self evaluation, I was like, that lecture went very horrible. Like, I stammered, I couldn't present my ideas properly, I was fidgeting, and it was like that. And then later, another devotee, one senior devotee was there, one senior Mataji was there, and I was talking with that Mataji, and she said, so in my head, like, I was feeling very defeated. I was like, why did they put me up for the service? I was feeling so defeated. All these new people, and I didn't even say nicely. That Mataji told me, like, one day you will be a very great preacher. And I said, like, oh, this Mataji is just telling me to make me feel good. Like, you know, like, I don't foresee myself giving classes ever after this horrible class. And here this Mataji is saying one day you'll be a great preacher. And I was like, oh, Mataji is just trying to comfort me. But then, kind of I can see like how Krishna plays his hand. And then, like, today I'm giving lectures in ISKCON of Harrisburg. So just the point, like that, sometimes we might not get a service, or sometimes we might get a service where we don't like. But it's like, it's Krishna's plan that, in the grand scheme of things, something is to manifest. And we should just trust the plan instead of fighting the plan.
It's such a good point, because sometimes we do get, thinking, when will I get the mercy? When will I get the mercy? And that's the same thing even I was told by my senior god sister many years ago, probably like about, I want to say, I don't know, 25 years ago, something like that. She made a comment to me and she said, when the time is right, the service will come. Until then, keep on serving. Just don't stop. And when the time is right, Krishna will make all the arrangements. Just like Prabhupada, right? When Prabhupada came to America, when did his guru give him the instruction? 1925, I think. Oh no, 1922?
1922. Yeah.
Yeah, 1922. And when did Prabhupada make it happen? 1965.
Yeah.
43 years later, pretty much, right? But Prabhupada never stopped serving. Prabhupada never gave up. Prabhupada never say, oh my God, you know what? It's been 5 years, 10 years. Sometimes we feel, oh, but I did service for 1 year. I'm not getting more service. It's okay. I'll just stop serving. Prabhupada never did that. 43 years, Prabhupada continued religiously every day, every night, religiously. Prabhupada never gave up. He kept serving, 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 serving until the Lord made all the arrangements to prepare him to come to America after 43 years. So there's also another lesson in that for us is if something doesn't go our way, 1 year, 2 years, 3 years, we blame everybody. He not giving me, she not giving me, he's not giving me, she's not giving me. The time is not right, right? Time is only separating it. And then we just say, oh, I've been serving for 10 years, I'm not doing anything. Yeah, look at Prabhupada, 43 years. I know one of my god brother who met Srila Prabhupada in 1976. And he was supposed to get initiated in 1977, but for some reason, his name did not get on the list. Can you believe that? He did not get on the list to get initiated. He never gave up. He was still active and preaching and active and preaching and active and preaching, and he finally got initiated in 2003 or 2004 under my spiritual master. And now his name is Sankirtan Yagna, and he serves in Baltimore Temple, and he is the main guy behind the Food for Life to feed the hungry in Baltimore. He never gave up. From 1977, he missed the boat. Someone would say, you know what? They forgot to add my name to get into a proper. I guess, I'm not very important. I'll just leave. I'll just go, whatever. He never gave up and he never stopped chanting. From 1977 up until 2004. Imagine how many years that was. And now he's initiated. And he's been serving Baltimore Temple very, very, very committed. So we have so many examples of that like that, in ISKCON, of devotees who never gave up. They continued to serve because that shows that they believed in the mercy. They were not after fame or title or position or status, or feeling good, feeling welcomed, like whole thing. They just wanted the mercy of the Guru and they kept on serving. So we have so many examples like that. I couldn't believe it. But yeah, if you go to Baltimore, you must ask him the story. He'll add his own, not twist. He'll add the actual, I just gave like a very brief part of it. And he will tell you his journey, how he hung in there and never gave up from 1977 to 2004. Amazing devotee, Sankirtan Yagna. And he's a very good cook. Excellent cook. He's a chef. He's really good. Yeah. But thank you.
Yeah. Let me see if Damodar Prabhu is ready or not.
Yes, is he ready for it? Because we would like to see the Lord.
One second, I'll just walk over and check.
Sure, sure. Thank you.
650? Okay. So, okay, 650. So
So in three more minutes.
I'll connect on my phone. So I'll live stream from my phone.
Recording in progress.
If you mute it, that's fine, right?
Yeah, like once it starts, I'll disconnect from this laptop and join. Actually, I'll join on the phone.
Yeah,
I'll
I
dis-
think you were on the phone just now. Okay, let me admit you. There we go. Perfect. Okay, Jitamitra. Okay, we got you on vote. So
yeah.
in 2 minutes should be Aarti. But if the devotees in front of you, that are there would like to share something next couple of minutes, we would like to hear something. If there's something they want to share or add.
Yeah.
Thank you very much for the class. Very nice. All the comments are very relevant. So I really appreciate the discussion that took place, especially about the spiritual masters and understanding the spiritual masters' instructions and having faith in spiritual masters' instructions, like Mataji was saying, that if you don't have that, then it'll be very hard for you to maintain your practice after the spiritual master departs. So yeah, those topics that were around that area, and how you were saying too, if something purifying happens in your life and it's very painful, you should actually see this as Krishna personally getting involved in my life. So it's actually a very sweet thing. So just all of these topics are very nice to hear. So very grateful. Thank you.
Thank you.
Here.
Thank you for sharing, Mataji. So you want to share something?
No, just also very grateful. Nice to hear the talk. My first time here, even though I've been in Gitanagara for 5 years, I somehow never made it. Very nice to be here.
You are. Yeah.
And Jitamitra, I hope that you and Dan and Narayan cooked enough for all of you, right?
Yeah. So
Good.
Mataji, now the conch shell is going to get blown. So
Sure.
hold on, I'll just switch. Yeah. I'll try to live stream this. Yeah. Jai. Jai. Yeah. Mataji, you want to sing? Gaura, yeah. Jai Jai Gaura. Yeah. Kidding. Can you hold the camera onto the charger? Yeah, thanks. Krishna. Yeah.